Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast episode. I'm your host, Athena Bailey, and I'm super excited because today we have such a special guest on the podcast today, the beautiful Alex Tripod. And if you have been following me for the last 6 months or so, you would have seen me posting quite a few times about Alex, events of hers I've gone to, courses I've done. She has really changed my life in the last 6 months, and I'm so excited to have her on the podcast and share some of her wisdom with you guys today so you can also experience her magic. Now, for those of you who don't know Alex Tripod, she is a best-selling author, international best-selling author, speaker. She is the queen of manifestation. So all things manifestation, Alex is your go-to, and she's also a quantum business coach. And she has been helping me with my business and manifestation for I think the last 6 months. And it's funny because I was following Alex for like 7 years, if I'm honest. Like she would pop into my field and I'm like, oh, that looks so cool. She looks so cool. Look at what she's doing. But I didn't really get that, okay, it's time to work with her. And then I just had it like 6 months ago. I was like, oh my God, I need to work with her. And since then I've been like pretty much obsessed with her work, and I'm like incorporating her work into my daily life every single day. So hi, Alex. Thank you so much for being here.
I mean, what an intro. I'm getting hot in here. Like, oof, no pressure. Oof. Amazing intro, babe. Thanks for having me here. I'm so excited to co-create with you.
Yeah, thanks, lovely. So the last 6 months having you in my world, learning from you, upgrading from you. I mean, can you tell me, like, in your own words, I know that I say you're the manifestation expert, but what is it that you feel like you're actually put here to do for humanity? Like, what would you say is your sole purpose that you're here to do?
You know, every time someone asks me this, I feel like such a wanker because my mission is so big that sometimes it makes me want to vomit from the bigness. Like the amount of experiences that I have that I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. I'm here to serve millions. And feeling the bigness of it sometimes is so overwhelming because I get into my head, like, why little old me? But then it's like, why wouldn't I have chosen to have the wildest human holographic blockbuster movie where I raise the vibration of humanity on a global scale? And that is my soul's mission. I know to my very core that I'm here to raise the vibration of humanity. And what that means is, like, for me, it's really like grounding some of the most wild concepts and making the intangible tangible, bringing the quantum physics, the science, and blending the science with the spirituality. So we take out the woo-woo out of manifestation. You know, a lot of us think it's woo-woo, it's intangible. It's like, well, hang on. Everything in the metaphysical world is actually where everything is created. Everything we see right now, everything we experience is because some crazy fucker had the imaginal thought of it first, right? And it's like, this is one of the biggest keys that I've actually been playing with recently. So many of us try to manifest and we go into the quantum and we're visualizing it. And yet we still have this human addiction to make the 3D supreme. The 3D is real, the vibrational reality isn't. Who's to say it's not? If you're listening right now and you close your eyes, you can see without your physical eyes. Like, that's real. Why are we being told? I mean, I know why we're being told. Don't call me a conspiracy theorist. But again, it's to pull us out of our power. So I'm like obsessed with really helping people shift into their power. And by power, I mean personal power, that they know, holy shit, I actually am the creator. I have the light of God within me. I am the universe in ecstatic motion. This is all my playground that I get to sculpt and manipulate. Because I've done it. I've helped my clients do it. That's what I'm obsessed with. That's what I'm here to do.
I love it. And such a beautiful way of explaining it. I remember when I first went to your event in the Gold Coast and I was in the room with you, and, you know, being a psychic and a channel and a clairvoyant, I remember looking at you going like, holy fuck, she's here to do big work. Like, I just saw everything you were put here to do and your sole purpose. And I was like, my God, like we need to like do big things. She's here to do so many big things, and her soul mission is so big. And it was very exciting for me because, I love to be the bridge to help light leaders when they have so much to give. And I remember it really struck me around your energy. And these intense, strong soul codes that you have. And I love that you talk about soul codes actually often. And it's interesting because when we're working on a soul level and we're talking about soul codes, for me, what I feel around soul codes is really like what we give to others, like what people get from being in our field. So it's almost like if someone has, I know you talk about your courage codes, right? Like if someone is in your field, it's like after a certain period of time, they begin to have their own courage code. It's like
or instantly.
Yeah, or instantly, absolutely. And they start to upload it onto themselves. And I know there's all this talk about like, you pay to be someone's energy, but 100%, like I absolutely believe that when we're talking about energy, I know that being in the room with someone like you who has these amazing courage codes, I'm going to be downloading them while I'm in the room with you. And I remember that was the reason why I signed up to work with you. I needed to be in the room with you, getting these codes. So I'd love to hear from you kind of like, how do you define these soul codes?
Oh, I love that. I think that the biggest thing for me is like really breaking it down, because so there's kind of like, I didn't even know I had courage codes. And my mentor told me like 4 years ago, she's like, Alex, people work with you because you've got like this deluded level of self-belief that allows you to take courageous action. You've got courage codes. That's what's so magnetic about you. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm not courageous. She's like, so there's two windows, and it's first and foremost is, and I want you, whoever's listening to this, like through this process, it's so eye-opening. The first process you want to look at is what confuses me about people / what pisses me off about humanity. Right. It can be like closed-minded people, rude people, people that that complain and blame, victims, right? So your coding is usually the opposite of that. So for example, if what pisses me off about people is people that stay stuck and complain and saying victim. The opposite of that is a fearless action taker and someone who just does anything so that's my courage codes. Does that make sense? Right.
Yeah,
and
totally.
The second window is, and this is like, these are your higher self codes that are dormant inside of you that you have the ability to unlock. And this is where, not that I ever pedestal someone, but, someone that you respect, someone that you admire, someone that you're like, wow, they're doing cool shit in the world. So you look at them and you're like, what specifically about them do I respect, adore, and admire? And then if you list those things out, so for me, it used to be like Alexi Panos, and I'd be like, wow, she's so graceful. She's so embodied. And at the time, 4 years ago, I wasn't so graceful. I wasn't so embodied. I was still slapping my way through business. And so I knew that there was my job to find evidence and start rewiring the brain to see where I already am embodied, where I already am graceful. And this was my journey to my highest timeline. So what you already have within you, what comes naturally, like kindness codes, empathy codes, courage codes, communication codes. You won't think it's anything special because it just comes naturally to you. Yeah. But this is the energy, these are the codes that people will pay you to be in your containers to upload from you. And we can package it in a way that says Manifestation University or Isis Car. We can package it in all different ways that we want, but ultimately they're coming in to receive your energy and your code so they can shift into the higher timelines more gracefully.
Absolutely. I love that so much. And I think that those are such beautiful exercises to like tap into codes. And I think something that's been really helpful for me as well is to kind of look back at my life and go, what happens when people spend a lot of time in my field? And this really helped me understand like part of my energy work here. And definitely like the fire sign comes into it as well, being fire sign. But I've noticed that people in my life, like short-term friends, long-term friends, new people, whatever, whenever they come into my life, they would always shift into soul purpose work, always, like, no matter what happened, like they would leave their 9 to 5, or they'd be like, you know what, I'm following this. And every single time, and it just finally like, it just finally clicked one day that, oh, like I'm really here to like light this up in people. And yes, I do, I teach channeling and Isis Car, but the secondary part of that is also receiving these soul codes. And that's why I see so many people have these transitions that when they go through my program into stepping up into their soul purpose work. It's like, it's an energy I feel just exudes from me that I'm really passionate about. And I talk about it because I do believe that everybody listening to this has a unique soul mission, and the single best thing that you can do for yourself is embody it. I absolutely do believe that, and that creates like an energy around me that is secondary, but that's what I would kind of like add to the soul code stuff. I think it's really powerful.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh yeah, go for it.
You said that everyone has a soul purpose. I've heard mixed things about this. I'd like to believe that every single soul that incarnates on planet Earth has wanted to have a soul purpose. And, purpose can be like, the courage to be me. Like, I guess I've heard as well from different people that like there's empty vessels and avatars here that don't have actually a purpose, and not everyone is here to wake up and see through the veil of the illusion and come. They're actually just here to live the 3D matrix life and get a job and pay the bills and have the 3 kids and white picket fence. Not that there's anything wrong with that if anyone's getting triggered listening to that. So I'm like, what are your thoughts on that?
Totally, such a good point. Yeah, and when I say everybody listening to this, I do specifically mean light workers and starseeds. The way that I see it is that there are people who are incarnated here to serve. They're here to better humanity. And then there are people who are here still going through the soul lessons and the karmic lessons. And a lot of starseeds and light workers also have lessons here, but they have a soul purpose and a soul mission. And it's a very different lived experience. I remember growing up, I always had this when I say this, every light worker and starseed just gets it. I had this restlessness in my stomach, like this. It's almost like this, I'm here to do something. Like, what am I doing? And I remember like I'd hear like spiritual and I'd be like, what is that? Like, it was just like everything was tugging me to it. And then when I was a teenager and I had my awakening, I was like, oh, this is it. And that feeling of like, I'm here to do something disappeared. And I'm like, I'm doing it. And there's nothing that lights me up as much as doing what I'm here to do. And I believe that light workers and starseeds, that we all experience this on some level, and it's because we're here on soul mission work. And at the same time, there are a lot of humans in this world. And I think in the last 2 years, we've seen that the difference more than ever before of what it looks like when we do have these people who are on soul missions and people who are here to learn and have the human experience. And at the moment, we're living in a world where we have both energies actually quite strongly coming through. So that's what I believe about it.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for that. Really cool.
Yeah, really interesting topic. I love talking about the soul purpose stuff. But I did want to ask you, okay, so when we talk about, because I see you as a manifestation expert, like you are the go-to for manifestation. And I mean, you've got a book on it, like you're the queen of manifestation. So you have created some exceptional results through your manifestation work. And there are a lot of manifestation people out there, but you are actually living an exceptional life that you have created through your manifestation work. So what I want to ask you is, what do you think makes you different that has allowed you to get those results with your manifestation work?
I think for me, if I really look at it, because I have been obsessed with manifestation since 18 years old, yet nothing ever changed until I was 30, and I hit a rock bottom and I was like, is this really what my life has come to? And I mean, like real rock bottom, like no self-worth, in a 9-to-5 job, living paycheck to paycheck, just got broken up with, loathed myself. It was just like, and I really want to like let that land for people, because so many people look at my life now, I'm like, oh my God, like maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. No, maybe it's consistency, maybe it's determination, maybe it's devotion, maybe it's commitment. And so for me, I had to hit that rock bottom. But I guess there's a couple of things. The first thing that's coming through is that I tried like 100-day happiness challenge and watching The Secret. I'm not putting shit on that stuff. What I am saying is, and until I understood vibrationally what's going on within me and how it is accordant to your personal energetic frequency and the 7 factors that make up your PEF and your programming frequency, your emotional frequency, the words you speak, your thought, it's not just one thing. And when we look at the science behind manifestation and how we're creating our reality, and when I understood that an atom is made up of more than 99% empty space, and this is just a hologram of my projected subconscious beliefs, and all I needed to do was go to the core and change me, that's when everything shifted. So that's how I pretty much manifest any area of my life. And so I'm like obsessed with this stuff, and then realizing it's all just my programming, right? This is how I manifest anything. So I think that it's like kind of like, how do I put this? It's like that mix obviously with the courageous action. So my ability to actually hear the download, hear my soul, hear my team, whatever you want to call it, hear source energy, and the less lag time there is between my idea and the execution of it, the faster I just had progress. You know, it was just like every idea I just honored. I just did it. I started before I was ready. I ran my first event before I even thought myself as a speaker. I did an Australian tour. Like I just did vomit, scary action taking things because I was like, you know, I'm so committed to it. And on top of that, it was, I read this thing in a book that I'm currently reading right now called Atomic Habits. And he says that cancer grows for 80% internally for our lives, and then manifests and takes over the body within months. So that's the same as if you think you've been manifesting, you've been trying, it's the same. Like, you know, I talk to my clients about vibe boosters. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for the metaphysical to turn into the physical. But most of us will try something new for 2 days, 2 weeks, maybe a month. And then we don't see the physical evidence and we think this shit doesn't work. So the difference between me and anyone else, or the old version of me, was I just fucking stuck to it like my life depended on it. Until I saw results. There was no going back to my old life. It was it. It was done. It was a line in the sand. It was a decision.
I love that. That's, and like goosebumps, like that is so powerful. And I think that is the missing piece for a lot of people. It's the commitment and the devotion, because there are a lot of people that we know that you can go up to, or maybe whoever's listening to this in your life, that you can go up to and go, hey, do you believe that everything is made up of atoms and the law of attraction and that we can manifest anything we want? And they'll be like, yeah, actually, I do believe that. If you fucking believe that you are capable of manifesting anything in your life, why the fuck aren't you doing anything? Yes. And I say this with love because I'm guilty of this too. It's like, we know it, we believe it, but we don't embody it. And I feel like that's
that as well. A lot of people are like, oh, I manifest a parking spot. I manifest a free cup of coffee. And I go back to like, this is not about accidentally manifesting here or there. This is about becoming a deliberate creator, like fully having control over your money, over your finances, over the clients that flow in, over like, you know, like really, like we have the power to do this if we decide to become obsessed with this work.
Yes.
So my obsession, I think, is the key. I'm married to this for life. I can't not, now that I know the power of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love it. And that's part of what like I admire about you, your devotion and commitment to it. And I'd say I'm like that with channeling, like working with my spirit guides, but I'm still like really calling myself out on being better on manifestation. When I look back on my business journey, like the biggest leaps that I've had have been when I have been manifesting consistently. Like before I had my first ever 10K like launch years ago, I was doing Joe Dispenza tuning into new potentials meditation every single day. Last year, right before I had my biggest, highest cash month yet in the middle of last year, I had been, which now I know, like you call it vibe boosters, but at the time I hadn't started working with you yet. I recorded myself going, okay, this is your new life. And just like saying all these things to myself. And I would get up and I would go drive to the gym, and just the whole way there, I would listen to that. And that was my thing. And then a month later, I had my biggest like cash month yet. And what I found really works well for me, because I know like working with you, I had like so many different options on how to manifest. And I think that's really powerful because people have different techniques that work really well for them. And what I found works really well for me is vibe boosters. And I know you sell these vibe boosters on your website as well. You've done specific ones for me. And I've been recording my own ones in the last couple of weeks. And I just find like it's so easy for me to like wake up first thing in the morning and listen to this 7-minute audio of me describing to myself, like, this is what your life looks like. And I get excited. I like tune in. And I just find like that has been like the easiest way for me to start integrating the manifestation part into my life.
And we'll think about it. You're literally on a daily basis saturating your subconscious mind with the felt and known experience of it already being done.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally. And it's really interesting because for me, I've gone back to really being quite structured, quite disciplined, quite consistent with my morning routine. And as you know, because Athena's actually my coach too, and I was going through massive upgrades a couple of months ago to the point that, when Athena tuned into my field, she was like, it's because I'm like, I can't connect to anything. I don't want to do anything. I literally like, I feel like I'm looking at people like, oh, new year, new me. I'm like, bleh, like I can't. And she's like, it's like I've never seen upgrades like this before, Alex. It's like you're literally disabled. I felt mentally and emotionally disabled. I wasn't able to connect to anything. I was like, fuck humanity. I want to be in my bubble. And so for about a good month, I didn't do anything. I was really stopping my meditation. I was like literally ordering Uber Eats, sitting, watching rom-com feel-good movies and doing nothing. For the first time in 7 years, I allowed myself to just be and be upgraded, right? But if we look at what quantum physics tells us, that it takes anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks for the metaphysical to start showing up in the physical. Really interesting because, and now I know why we had to delay this podcast, because I myself have been like, fuck, like being tested over my own theories. Like, is it really going to switch? Is it going to work? Where was I 6 to 8 weeks ago? I was sloppy cakes, no consistency, nothing. Okay. So I'm in the middle of launch right now, and there's almost 3,000 people in a free challenge. I'm being visible, and I'm like, fuck, when's like the sales going to start coming through? When the client's going to start coming through? Like, and every day I'm like, vibe boosters, magical script. It's like so consistent. And literally, when I look back in the last 14 days, even just yesterday, I had a $45,000 day. And then I looked at the last 14 days and I've made just over $120,000. And it's literally, I'm at the 6-week mark, because around the 20th of January, I drew a line and said, that's it, enough with the upgrades. I'm doing, what's that? 6 weeks later. Oh, and it's just really interesting because it's like keep going, because it's going to tip. It's going to tip. And it reminds me of that image that we see of that guy like hacking away in the mines, trying to look for gold. And just when he's about to give up, there's all the golden nuggets. It's like, oh my God, I've been reminded again of how powerful this stuff is and how no one is immune. 7 years of this stuff. And even when I got sloppy for a month, there's still a time delay that was always going to show up in my physical reality.
That is so powerful. And for anyone listening, like 6 weeks, I challenge you for 6 weeks, and you hold yourself to manifesting every single day. If you know that in 6 weeks, you're going to see shifts in your vibrational reality. That's so powerful. And I want to tune into, Alex, something that I believe like you've been able to exceptionally manifest, which is like success in your business. You have a 7-figure business. You're very well known for your work. And a lot of that is to do with the manifestation part in it. And I know that a lot of people listening, they are healers, practitioners, coaches, and they want to know more about that. So I would love to ask you some questions about that. The first being, in your business, like over the years that you've been in business, was there ever a time that you felt super stuck, like you hit a ceiling? A lot of people can get stuck at kind of like the 10K months, and they feel like they just can't get past that no matter what they do. So have you ever experienced this kind of ceiling or stuckness in your business? And how would you recommend anybody who's listening to that, who maybe they've spent 6 months or a year at the same cash month, like how could they get past this?
So in terms of like feeling stuck in terms of like how much money I can bring, I've never experienced that, but that's because, full transparency, I went from a 9 to 5 job. I invested 20K into a program to teach me how to go one-to-many immediately. So I never did one-on-one calls. So I never was exchanging time for money. So I went straight to, here's my 2.5K program. So but my thing was like learning the ability like of sales, marketing, all of that. Have I had times where I wanted to throw my entire sales mission in the bin and give up and think this is too hard? Absolutely. I feel like the biggest distinction for me when I reflect on, 10 to 20K months to like 100K months, in my first couple of years, and again, I don't know if this is going to serve anyone, but I'm going to share it. Like there's 2 parts coming through here. Number one, full transparency, I was living at home with my mum and dad. So I knew I was never going to go starving and I was always going to have a roof over my head. So that gave me the ability, every single dollar that I was earning, I just reinvested. Anyone I can get in the room with that was already living the life that I wanted. Any retreat, any mastermind, Bali retreat, this, that, yes, NLP 3-day live event, anything, because I was addicted to growth. I was literally obsessed with becoming the best version of me, which I knew was going to equal into more money. Right. So the first 2 years of my business, I was just reinvesting everything and I was obsessed with growth and getting myself into containers or in the room with people that I needed to upload their codes from. The second thing was I was really just in that flow of crazy, deluded action taking. Oh, well, I don't really have anything to sell, but I've decided I'm going to fucking launch a workshop called Raise Your Vibration. Better think of something to sell. Like it was always like, I'm just going to start before I'm ready. I'm going to start before I'm ready. So and now there's more structure, there's more thing. Okay. How do we get to 200K months? But before I wasn't thinking of that. So it really depends on what the stuckness is, but I would actually think that it's potentially their energy that's a little bit stagnant. And how are you still playing it safe? Like, where are you wanting to shift into 30K months and beyond, but you're actually still playing for a 10K gain? I dare you to, do the things that exploded your business in the first place. Go live, share your wisdom, focus on adding value, run your first workshop, do something that makes you feel like you're going to shit your pants a little bit. I promise you that is your key. Like this, I always say courage, the vibration of courage is the gateway to manifestation heaven. And so many of us are trying to bypass it. And I'm going to vibe boost over it so I don't have to step into the wall of courage. I'm going to meditate on my navel and hopefully I'll shift into 20K months. If I'm triggering you, good. You can't meditate your way there. You've actually got to step through the fiery gates of hell called courage sometimes. And I call it the fiery gates of hell because it feels like you're literally going to die because there is an ego and identity death as you're stepping into it. Every time I've stepped on stages, whether it's 30 people in a workshop or 500 people that I'm about to deliver to, I literally feel like I'm going to die. But I have enough evidence to know that I did the thing and I didn't die. And that is true fucking power. And that is more delicious than any 20, 30, 100K month ever.
Oof, I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So it's the courage and putting yourself out before you're ready. And speaking on that, when you look back at your business and every single step we've had to take courage, do you think that it was harder to go from 0 to 100K or 100K to 1 to 7 figures? What do you think has been like the different points as well? Like when you compare the journey to both?
Such a good question.
Or even what you would say is the difference between a 6-figure business owner and a 7-figure business owner.
I mean, the difference is the finesse in the little 1%ers. I honestly feel like we're all playing the same game. Like, for me, I'm playing more with a bit more like structure and flow. So like, when we're at the 10, 20K months, it's like, cool, I've got a, $500 per hour thing or $2,000 program or whatever, $200 per hour, whatever it is. And you're like, how am I trying to articulate this? It's like I'm at the stage now where I'm looking at how can every day be a 10K day? How can I have something set up where every day can be that? Whereas in the early stages, potentially we get caught up too much in the month to month, if that makes sense. But I feel like there's potentially an opportunity here to, I'm going to say like money work. There needs to be like, I think the biggest distinction is like what I believe about money now.
Yeah.
And what I believed about money back then, if that makes sense. I ultimately have, and this is just let it land, I ultimately have this belief that money is better off in my bank account than other people's bank accounts, right? And which is like, there's no shame, there's no guilt. And like, again, if you're listening to this, you're most likely a starseed light worker. Money is better off in your bank account than 98% of humanity's bank accounts. Why? Because it's people like us that with more money, you're going to run that first retreat. You're going to book that book retreat and write your book. You're going to get your message out there further. You're going to invest like Athena did in all this video equipment to create videos, to be more seen, to spread your message, your codes wider, further, and share your energy so collectively we can fucking create a whole new earth called the 5D earth and unlock it. And it's up to us. So I truly believe the more star seeds and light workers that have more money, like the more we're going to accelerate humanity's evolution. So work on your money beliefs so you feel worthy and safe to receive more money. That's the core. Everything else will kind of take care of itself.
I love that. And it's absolutely like a belief that I've really like talk about when it comes to light workers, because there's more issues around money and having money with spiritual people than any other industry, because we're taught, you know, it's not spiritual to have money, which is total bullshit. Because
it's so spiritual. Money is energy. It's so spiritual. Money wants to co-create with us. Money, like, and it's so interesting because again, it's what I find is some of the most gifted people in the world haven't unlocked their abundance codes.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I see that
the problem because we got broke people with incredible gifts that can't literally do the things that they would. You know what I would do? Like, and I dare to just play with this question. What would you do if I injected $1 million into your bank account right now? What would you do if the universe injected $1 million in your bank account? Now, a lot of us are going to be still in the scarcity mindset, be like, oh, I'd set myself up, I'd buy a house, la, la, la. Sure. Cool. Awesome. And I also know a lot of us right here will be like, fuck, I'm going to invest in that mentor. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. For me, you know what I would do if I had a spare $1 million cash instantly today? I would hire a private jet. I would get 10 different locations around the world and take Manifest 10X as a free live event in huge stadiums. I'd have a whole crew, a videographer, a photographer. I'd have crew. I'd have Athena come with me because I need someone to energetically upgrade me just before I get on stage and to help me with the recovery. I'd have a whole crew of people and we'd do literally 9 cities in 6 months and literally shift everything. More than just a fucking house. The brick, the water, the land, it doesn't excite me as much because I know those 10 live events, that value that I give, that's going to come back to me tenfold. That's going to come back to me in 10 million.
That's really, really powerful. Wow, I love that, and so exciting. I love that. That's the big vision.
Are you coming on my private jet with me?
I know. I'm like, yes, I'm included in this vision. I love that because yes, I would love to come along. Thank you for the invitation. I will, come back to that.
My partner was like, babe, when you like do the Manifest next tour, like you need Athena there with you. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like Vox is not enough. I need her there in person. Okay, cool. I need to get I think I'm banked now. I need to get next level banked,
I love it. I'm so there. And I also want to add to that point that I want to mention that you are doing like a free training on Friday to get to the 7 figures for spiritual business owners. Yeah. We'll post the link for that in the comments if anybody's interested, because I'm definitely going to that. I also wanted to add to the 100K to 6 figures to 7 figures, because for me, I have a few clients who are at 7 figures. I have a few clients who are at 6 figures, and I do see a difference in for me, the big difference that I see is a mindset. And I've worked with people in the past, 6-figure, 7-figure as well. And what I tend to see is a bit of a pattern where someone who is at 6 figures, or trying to get to 6 figures, will say, oh my God, I've realized I have this block and it's creating a real resistance in me. And, oh, it's this persecution wound, which is totally valid. It's totally real. It's a thing we all experience. And it's making me feel like it's really hard to show up and do X, Y, Z, right? And they will kind of sit with that and then go, so I wasn't able to create this or do this or take care of this or show up and do this content. And I've spent the week kind of healing and trying to shift through it. And then suddenly it's like 2 weeks later and they're still working through with it. What I've noticed with people who are at the high multi 6-figure to 7-figure is they will be like to me, oh yeah, I've noticed this block. And so it was really uncomfortable and hard for me, but I still did X, Y, Z. Now I'm here in this session with you. Can you heal it for me? So it's like the doing the thing, even though it is so physically uncomfortable and unpleasant. And I feel like that's what you talked about when you're talking about like getting on stage. It is so uncomfortable for you because you're having this ego death. And I think that's what really separates like the higher levels of success, because there are a lot of things people think that, oh, it just feels good. Like it feels good the whole time. No, it can feel really, really uncomfortable. And I think that's a bit of a myth that's circulating there as well.
I mean, I was in fetal position crying, processing fucking shame and guilt and the ego death experience on the launch of my 21-day challenge. This is not about having to be high vibe and Pollyanna, happy, like fake vibes. Like I truly believe, I love that you share that, because I feel that there's a very dangerous line around being too much in the embodiment feeling works with no mindset. Meaning I'm going to be with this, I'm going to be with this. And like, when I be with it, I really am present with it. It can literally shift within 5 minutes, an hour. Like it doesn't have to be an elongated weeks and months of healing. And I'm not saying not to do the inner child trauma healing work and the embodiment work. I'm saying combine it with the mindset and manifestation and belief rewiring and upgrading your program. When you marry these two, embodiment and mindset, and then adding the galactic stuff, next level. Like in my 7 years, you need the channeling stuff and the connection to your team. You need the embodiment stuff and you're feeling your fucking shit and you're not high vibing or stepping over feelings, and you need the mindset stuff to bring you back into that energy that's going to have you show up and go live and create content and do that.
Yeah, and totally. And so any of the light workers who are listening to this, like if you're trying to get to 6 figures, because I've seen it in like, I've supported a lot of light workers get from 0 to 6 figures. And the common things I will say, if I tune into the energy, I'm like, you need to be doing live streams. There are people who I just check in a week later. Did you do the live stream? No, I was really uncomfortable. And this came up, so I was processing it. So the mindset reframe that I want you to have is, even though I feel this massive fear, even though I feel this persecution wound, even if I feel fucking shit scared, I'm still going to do the thing that I know is going to bring me the most success. And I'm going to honor how I feel, acknowledge it, but I'm also not going to let it stop me from getting what I want. And that's a mindset shift that I really want light workers to think of, embody.
Yeah. And that, what you talk about there, you just described stepping into the fiery gates of courage. Because courage look like, oh yeah, it's my next obvious stop. I'm gonna run a workshop. Courage is like, I have to show up for this thing that I committed to, even though I don't want to. I have to create this program that I said I was going to do, even though this thing, like life is always going to be happening. So like what you just described there is like literally stepping into courage. And I feel like as well, like just remembering as light workers, as people that love giving and sharing our gifts, like I've been in triggered situations with partners before, knowing that I've got a client call 5 minutes later and wanting to cancel, but showing up, and that coaching call pulled me out of my own shit and full upgraded me back into beyond just my little fucking small egoic world, so it can actually pull you out of your stuff as well.
So powerful. I love it. So courage courage codes, big one, discipline, taking action. And speaking of that, actually, you're in the launch for Manifestation University, right? So you're in this launch. Yeah. Is your daily ritual, because I know you're so like committed and disciplined about your daily ritual, is it different when you're in launch to when you're not in launch?
Yes. So I have something called a launch specific morning routine, and there's also more skin in the game. So like full transparency, when I'm not in launch, like of course I'm still consistent, but I'm probably not as like But when I say launch specific morning routine, I mean like I have literally looked at the specific subconscious blocks that come up for me and create a vibe booster around that. I specifically abracadabra and script out and read out, abracadabra coming from the Hebrew saying we create what we speak. So I'm literally speaking into existence, piercing the quantum field with best case scenario. Holy shit, it's day one and there's over 2,000 legends frothing for day one to drop. Guess what? And I prepare myself for launch. So I vibrationally prepare myself. I don't start doing this on day one, which means if I've been saturating my subconscious mind with this reality 14 days prior to when I'm dropping day one, and I'm feeling the felt experience and I'm reprogramming my mind 5 times a day, like I'm preparing my vibration. I'm not just stepping into it expecting to manifest it. I've seen it 14 times already. Interestingly enough, the day before 21-day challenge started, literally had 2,040 people waiting for day one to drop. So word for word, shit is manifesting that I'm scripting out, and it's incredible. Like, yes, be in the good energy, be in the high vibration, take care of your vessel, eat well, and program it. Feed your subconscious mind. Like, you know, your subconscious mind is your servant. What are you feeding it on a consistent basis? These 101 manifestation things that we get told, we forget it when we are the personal development world is so convoluted, but sometimes the basics are so powerful. Consistency, what you focus on grows. Your subconscious mind is your secret secretary. It will do and obey whatever you feed it on a consistent basis. Like abide by these rules and you're going to get results.
I think it's really, really important to be doing the manifestation when it comes to launching. And even like for years when I've been working with clients, like supporting them in their business, I always say to them, I have two rules when you are launching, 2 rules, right? You have to make sure that at the end of every single day, you have 1, spent 1 hour manifesting, and 2, been selling. If you haven't done those 2 things, it's not going to be a good launch. And even when I'm in my launch mode, it's like I treat it very differently to when I'm not launching in terms of manifestation, but it's like I prioritize manifestation because every time I have been consciously taking time to manifest in a launch, it's always like way bigger than any other launch I've done before. So it's like anybody who's out here listening now and selling, it's super important for you to be manifesting alongside the selling.
Right, because the manifesting is plugging in, you're getting in the good energy, you're cultivating the certainty from within, meaning I'm not going to like rely on getting the sale to feel good. I'm cultivating feeling good, feeling powerful, feeling alive and activated from within. And then the selling is like, well, you know, from this incredible energy, I'm going to hold up my product, my offering, my program like Simba. This is how freaking proud I am of it, you know, and not doing that part is as silly as meditating on your navel, expecting soul aligned clients to DM you. When you're not giving them opportunity, where we know, like some people are going to be like, see it once, bang. The reality is your reticular activating system might need to see it 17 times before you say yes to that person's offering. I mean, fuck me. I had to warm up Athena for 7 years until she said yes to one of my things, guys. So take that as and now we're both in each other's containers. She's my coach. I'm her coach. We're sharing and swapping codes. Like, it's incredible, right? But it took 7 years of emails for her to finally see something and made her go ping, ping, ping. Okay, I'm in. Right?
Absolutely. I love it. Sometimes it can take time and it's really interesting to me. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this, maybe you've experienced it with yourself or you've seen it with other people. And I think it's a question that we actually had submitted for this podcast. Like, what should someone do, recheck, shift into what would be the number 1 piece of advice you would have for someone who feels like they have been manifesting consistently, consciously for like a significant amount of time, and they feel like they're not getting results?
Yeah, great question. What I would do and what I always do when I feel this way is and again, it's going to sound so amateur and like simple. I want you to get out a piece of paper and I want you to draw up a calendar. Okay, it's the 1st of March today. You might not be listening to it till a couple of days later, but whatever day, you want to draw up a commitment calendar, right? And you're going to give yourself literally a 30-day challenge, like your life depends on it. Like if you don't do this, you're gonna die. Okay. And then you're going to clearly list out. So you're going to have a little key at the top of the thing. So it might be like MR stands for morning run. MS stands for magical script. SC stands for self-concept. VB equals vibe boosters. BR equals belief rewire. And you're going to have your set tools that take 5 to 10 minutes each. TM for me is transcendental meditation, right? And so for me, I would say like having a tangible physical representation and making the woo-woo or the invisible real. And I promise you, seeing this 30 days with 5 to 6 ticks there every single morning, that structure, personally inbox me and tell me if 30 days that your life hasn't changed and you haven't started to see your physical universe start to reflect back to you what you want.
Oh, so it's really the next level: dedication, devotion, discipline, commitment. That's really what's being
seeing
called
it
into.
with your eyes. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing it. Like I've got a calendar up there right now. And do you know how incredible it is that I can see a direct linear correlation between the consistency of how I've been every morning to the sales coming in, to videos going viral, to clients DMing me? Like there is a direct linear correlation. When I try, like, did I meditate yesterday? Did I do my morning routine? That feels sloppy. I like to have it somewhere because I'm making what people call not real, vibrational stuff. I'm making the non-real real. I'm making the intangible tangible. I'm making the metaphysical physical. And it gives me this peace of mind because even if I don't have a 400K launch, I can look at the calendar and be like, you know what? I'm so fucking proud of myself. I showed up every single day and I did everything in my power to be my best energy and call these clients in.
I love that. I love that so much. And it really, like, I think a lot of people listening, and myself included, it's being able to ask ourselves, are we doing everything in our power when we're working with the vibrational realms to be the best version of ourselves? And I think most of us, we can say that we're probably not. I know I'm not. I could definitely be doing more. I'm kind of like, oh, I've done my vibe booster a few times and I'm feeling good. It's definitely something I'm working on more myself, because when I see like the results you get, I'm like, yeah, I need to do more. Which is my big focus for this year, to really show up, be more disciplined and do even more.
And that's something, you know, I'll be sharing about in the workshop. It's like, our thermostat of where things get good, and like, or even like our money thermostat. Like for me, my job now, just because I've had 120K in the last 14 days, great. I'm going to double down. I'm going to do 7 vibe boosters a day now. I'm going to take this next level. Like when you start seeing results, you double down, where most people are like, oh, good, sale came in. Oh, I'm going to get squishy again. Right. And it's just like, unless we're busting through that invisible thermostat, like of how much abundance, success, clients, money you're allowed to do, you're letting in, like you're going to keep oscillating in this invisible ceiling and you're going to get frustrated. So again, this comes down to programming, belief work, feeling safe and worthy to receive this money. There's so much more that I can share, but I'm going to leave the magic for the masterclass.
I love that. And speaking of the masterclass, so I know we have a lot of people who are listening who have a 6-figure business or a multi-6-figure business. What would be your number one piece of advice for them if they want to scale to 7 figures?
Oh my God. Okay. The biggest thing is I'm teaching a strategy at the masterclass, like literally uncovering the exact thing to do, but it's basically you're wanting to get known for one thing. And it doesn't mean that you can't look at signature little offerings and do this and do that vary off this, but you want everything stemming back to this one thing. If you really want to scale to that level, it's like beating the message like a broken record and having like whatever it is, a 5K, 10K, 20K mastermind program that you can set yourself up where any day gets to be a 10K day. That's what I'm doing with Manifestation University. I'm setting it up. It's evergreen. I've got a 21-day challenge in there that anyone can opt into at any time, meaning hundreds of people will flow into this free thing. I'm giving so much value. And that's what you want to do. You want to give so much value in a free offering, whether it's a 3-day live that they can opt in, free masterclass, a 21-day challenge, so that they're like, if this is the fucking value I'm getting from their free shit. Oh my God, I need to be at that retreat. Oh my God, I need to be their paid container. You're right. And it wasn't that I had a free session with Athena, but that's what happened with Athena. I had a session with her, one private session with her. In half an hour, my mind was fucking blown. That next thing you know, I'm signing up to a private Atlantean container fucking thing. And with a VIP day, I'm like, get me in. I am in. Like, you want to make them feel like you're their missing piece. And the key is adding value and setting up in a way where you're not constantly having to continue doing it. It's set up, it's done, and leads are flowing in at any time. And they're going to your sales page, to your core program. That's what I would do.
I love that. And it's really interesting to me because the value part, I think, is so important. It was definitely something that when I first started my business, and even like leading up to 6 figures and beyond, it was something that I felt I had a real point of difference around, because we have, and you guys can see it now on my website, like the psychic activation course. We've had it. It's free. It's professionally filmed. It's hours worth of content. Paid a lot of money for that, but it's so much value in a free course. The only difference that we've made in the last few months is we now have it like, it's not live anymore, right? Because it was like, how can I have people coming through it every single day, right? So you spoke about the 10K day. So I'm really excited to implement like what you said. And I'm definitely going to be at that masterclass on Friday. And I'm also going to your retreat next month, which I'm so excited for. I even like booked 5 days before. I'm going to go to a different retreat, like in the Krishna village. They have the retreat there. I'm just going to be like prepping my energy to be in the room with you for the 4 days and the other woman. So can you talk to us a little bit about Banked and Blessed, who it's for, what it's about, and why they need to be in the room with you for it?
Awesome. Well, Banked and Blessed in a nutshell is it's for the woman that's already created 6 figures, multi 6 figures, potentially even $300,000-$400,000. And she's ready to scale and grow and shift into her first $1 million year. And so basically this is like, it's like, if I was talking to Alex from year one, like how could I have a shift and scale and grow and ignore all this shit that was just a waste of time? And we're going to be looking at not only just the energetics of claiming yourself as the embodied millionaire and what beliefs you need to have and what you need to be doing on a daily basis. And we're going to be spending a whole day on those like activations and really embodying this new identity archetype. But we're also going to be looking at the strategy. And because it's going to be intimate amount of us, I'm going to be sharing with you my strategy and what's worked, right? But also like personalizing it for everyone in the room and really spending time with everyone and go, cool, this is what you need to do, seeing like, and just really taking and refining their message to the next level. So it's like they walk away with the blueprint of how to scale to their first $1 million, but also a deeper claiming of who they are and a refinement in their message. So they are the known and go-to industry expert in their chosen field. That's what's involved, with a whole lot of fun, connection, massages, luxury, photo shoots. There's going to be like a graduation ceremony on one of the nights where you have to dress up in your 7-figure outfit and all the women celebrating your rebirth as this new woman, and it's like cocktails and like it's going to be
I'm so excited. And I remember when you first launched this, I was like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? Because like I'll be fully transparent with you. I've definitely invested in like masterminds, like how to scale to 7 figures, like $1 million mastermind. And I've paid 5 times the amount of what you're charging for so much less. So when I like saw what you were charging, I was like, oh my God, like get me in the fucking room. The energetics and the strategy to scale to $1 million, like for that value, and the 3 months of mastermind or however many months it is, like, yeah, I'm so excited. And I just think it's a no-brainer, like the amount of value that's being given. So yeah, I hope anybody who's listening to this who resonates with Alex, I hope to see you there, because yeah, I'm hanging for it.
That was the best sales pitch ever. Thanks, babe.
My pleasure.
And I know you came from such a genuine place. So
yeah, I'm legitimately like your biggest fan. I just need to be in the room with Alex.
I'm your biggest fan too. It's so interesting how like where our worlds have collided, and some of my people have become your clients, and some of you, like, it's just a beautiful energetic exchange, you know. And when we're in our power, we're in our living our light, and we're living and breathing our message. There's no competition. Of course, I want my clients to go to the Athena. Yeah. Of course, Athena wants her community to come experience my magic if it's in alignment. Yeah. And it's like, this is the 5D earth. We just share and swap codes. At the moment, the energetic exchange is money, but in the future, it's just going to be fucking energy.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I love the exchange of codes and energies that's happening. So we're going to post the links down for the free masterclass that's happening this Friday, which I will also be at the Banked and Blessed Mastermind, which is next month. You've also got the 21-day manifestation, which is a freebie happening, which is like blows my mind. For 21 days, you're showing up, which is like, if you're new to manifestation, you're ready to incorporate it, I highly recommend jumping on that. We'll post a link for that as well. And then you also have Manifestation University.
Yes. I'm like having the busiest month of my life. It's amazing. Manifestation University is like a 12-month support, basically, university where you get lifetime access to, 7 years of my manifestation expertise, from money mindset to the science behind manifestation to just literally everything. There's fortnightly coaching, Q&A, there's virtual live events every 6 months. It's really good if you're sort of new to manifestation, or you're kind of like not quite at 6 figures or multi-6 figures yet, but you want to really refine and like master your mind, master your energetics, master your mindset to get to that next level. So this is why I got the 2 different levels. But if you're already at multi-6, skip Manifestation University, come to Bank first. Yeah, I love it. So Manifestation University is kind of like the mindset, energetic money blueprint to scale to 6 figures. And then the next step is Bank and Blessed. I love that. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing those. And before we finish up, I'd love to ask you, if there was one thing that you could share with people, remind them of something that you feel it's really important for them to know or believe, is there anything that comes to mind that you'd like to share before we finish up? I know that's a biggie. It is a biggie. I'm going to leave you with, like, I don't normally believe in like motivational quotes, but there is this one that really put a fire up my ass, like, years ago. And it was, on your last day on earth, the person you became will see the person you could have become. And for me, that really, like, at the time I needed to hear that, because why are we allowing fear of the unknown to stop us from taking the action in the now that's going to shift us into these higher timelines of freedom, abundance, joy, connection? Like, I'm not trying to sound like Eminem here, but you've got one shot, you've got one shot at this incredible, glorious human holographic experience. And the magic is not in the, I've just had my first 100K month, I'm finally financially secure. It's in the who you become on the journey of it. I know you've heard this before, but fuck, I promise you, the first time that you truly step into those fiery gates of hell, i.e. the frequency of courage, and you shift and you do the thing that you were scared to, and you realize you didn't die, and you feel that elation and that pride, like, you're going to be addicted to doing that. That's life. That's true joy. So I dare you, I encourage you, I invite you to look at where you've not been stepping up and go and do it. Book that retreat, go invest in that mentor, do that thing. Go Facebook Live right now. I don't care what you're feeling. Go. Well, share on what's on your heart right now. Go do it. Go do it.
Yeah. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the
Yeah.
horrible ego death, the discomfort, and do the thing that you know your soul was born here to do anyway. Oh, I love that.
So good.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for taking the time to be here. You've shared so much valuable insights with us and takeaways. Everything you spoke about, we will post in the info box underneath this podcast. Thank you again, Alex.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.